Good evening. I'd like to call the order of the City Council meeting for the City of Waterville for Monday, August the 26th, 2024 to order. And I would ask Councilmember John Rozek to lead us in the prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. Loving God, as we come together tonight for the City of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
Thank you. And I'd ask our Fire Chief Doug Meyer to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, and I also should have mentioned not only our fire chief, but also as recent as this past Saturday, Friday and Saturday, recognized by the Anthony Wayne School System for an outstanding alumni, along with some other folks. So congratulations, Doug. Next, we'll have roll call.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Borowski?
Here.
Mr. Herbert?
Here.
Mayor Pedro?
Here.
Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Rosick?
Here.
Mr. Bergman?
Here.
Good. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our regular council meeting, which was held on Monday, July 22nd. Those were distributed in your packet. I'd ask for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved, Todd Borowski. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Wayne Wagner. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And they pass.
I have to recuse myself as I was absent
Okay.
from the last
Let the
meeting.
minutes reflect that, please. All right, next is some citizens' comments, and I do have one speaker, and I would ask Michelle Smith with the Chamber of Commerce to go to the microphone, identify yourself, an address, and speak away.
Good evening, Michelle Smith, Waterville Chamber of Commerce, 122 Barnesville. As you're aware, our 51st annual Roche des Boeufs Festival is coming up a month from Wednesday. And the city has always supported and been a sponsor of the festival, so basically I'm here to ask for some money. And we're hoping we can count on you again this year. I know last year it was our 50th. We asked for a lot of money last year, 20,000 to be exact, and you guys gave it to us. Our request is nothing even close to that this year, so everybody can just calm down. The board discussed the request, and we're seeing if you would approve a request of 7,000 this year. The way we came up with that is 2,500 is for items that are going to be utilized actually by both us and the Friday night event. Porta potties, tables and chairs, rentals, stuff like that for both of us. Another 1,000 we've estimated as a cost for our shuttle service from Tarda. In the past, they basically did that for us in exchange for a sponsorship. They can no longer do that, so we're estimating 1,000 for that. Out of the 7,000, that leaves 3,500, which we would like to put towards our entertainment, which is now in excess of 5,000. Obviously, there's more costs associated with the festival. We're up over 22,000 right now just in costs and stuff, and it's something that the whole city enjoys. So that's how we came up with the 7,000. So I can answer any questions or try to answer any questions that you may have.
I'm sure council will have a couple questions, but I'd just like to lead by saying, Michelle and I had a chance to talk this morning, but a couple of weeks ago, and in addition to what she mentioned, there are some other organizations within our city that have committed to contributing to this event. So we got the business community, we've got some other citizens, and obviously the city has helped in the past, which is a good quality event for our citizens, and I fully support the chamber's efforts. So I'll go around the room. I'll start with Mary Duncan.
I have no questions.
Todd?
No, I agree with Tim. I fully support everything you guys do. I have a great time at the roast booth every year, so whatever we can do to help, I'm in support of it.
Tony?
I'm all for it, full support.
Good. And Wayne?
You're not cutting it too close, are you, Michelle?
I'll let you know when it's over. If I'm not around, you'll find out that I did cut it too close.
So I guess I'll go back if I can.
Go ahead.
Out of curiosity, what was the costs last year? Like, what was your expenditures?
That is kind of the question of the day. Unfortunately, there was, with the outgoing director at that time, there were some issues with our books. So we actually, even when I started in January, I was still getting some bills in that hadn't been paid from the festival in September. So unfortunately, we really don't have a good set of books to go by.
But this year's right around 22 to put it on.
As of right now, we're right around 22. Obviously, we have some more stuff that's gonna come up. That's without like printing for the signs and stuff like that, but
Sure.
right now we're at like 22.
And just to be clear, that's 22 plus the 7, or is it 22 total?
No, that's what we're looking at for expenses right now.
Total.
Okay, total.
Total,
So 50.
yes.
Anything else, John or Anthony?
No, that's good.
Okay, so again, I had a chance to sit in on some of the chamber meetings, and it is a group of dedicated volunteers, and it's amazing the activities that they put on with other volunteers in our community. But this is our big. I said this last year. This is our Super Bowl. This is our big deal, and we want to make sure all our citizens and community members know about it. We got some other special announcements. We're not going to make them tonight, but we got some other things that will be coming up probably at our next meeting that you all will enjoy. So do we need a motion on this legislation, or, all right, so I'll make a motion that we approve up to $7,000 to support the 2024 Rooster Buff activities. I need a second.
Second?
Second, Mary. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Michelle. You're welcome to stay. but
Thank you
don't have
very,
to.
very much. Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
And that's the only other citizen that I have here tonight with us request to speak. We'll move on to staff reports. We'll start with our administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a copy of my report. I did want to mention a couple things. In Council's meeting packet, I had some information about the Ohio Auditor of State's new fraud prevention training program, and based on some recently passed legislation at the state level, Senate Bill 91 and House Bill 33, the state is requiring public employees and elected officials to take a state mandated training program, which in your packet, I had some information on that. It's only 8 minutes long, but you take the online training on the Auditor of State's website, and you get this fine certificate of completion, which Mr. Borowski did, and
Wow.
so here it is. So what will happen is, at our next audit, I'm sure they'll ask us, do you have all the certificates from your employees and your elected officials? And we'll have a folder to hopefully to present to them on that, and that does have to be completed by September 28th of 2024. So that information's enclosed. I also wanted to mention that during the paving program on Freedom Lane, we probably will have a change order. We had some storm drainage issues that we encountered when we were milling the pavement off. We had about 68 feet of corrugated steel sewer pipe that was in bad shape. So instead of the water going where it should be going, it leached into the grade of the road, and we had to undercut the road a little bit and put in some more base. So I mentioned that because the paving program is kind of tight, so we might need a budget amendment at our next budget amendment. But the cost on that is about $8,300 on that one. So other than that, that concludes my report. If council has any questions.
Council, we'll start with Anthony Bruno. John Rozick.
John, they have the stakes for the shared use path on the trail, looks like, but I assume those are the stakes for that. Do you know when that's gonna start?
Better late than never. They're about 2 weeks behind when they said they were gonna start, and actually they should have started sooner. So we do have a completion date. If they don't complete the project on time, there's liquidated damages, and fortunately, it's not a real complicated project, so hopefully they can get it done on time.
Yeah.
So,
Will that affect traffic at all while they're working on it?
yeah, it'll require some traffic control on the trail, and probably some on Waterville, Monclova, but more so on the trail. So,
What is the completion date?
November 1st.
Thanks.
Yep.
I'm good.
Tony?
No questions, sir.
So that shared use path for everyone that's listening, that's gonna go to Canal. That's gonna be done this year, and then in 27, we'll have a shared use path that goes from Canal all the way to Dutch by the end of 27. But I did wanna give John kind of kudos. I was at Public Works last week, and I'm reminded on how great of a job he does with our grants. And we do have a lot of projects going on, and when I look at these expenses and look at the money that John brings in these grants, he does a great job. So that's it.
Good. Mary?
Nothing?
John, I just have one question. On number 14 on your report, you worked with a property owner regarding proposed variance application without naming the individual. Tell us what takes place in that.
Well, the individual wants to do something with their property, and it doesn't meet the zoning code, so they have to submit information to the city, a hardship variance. So there's something with their property that's a hardship. They can't do what everyone else does. The shape is maybe different. It might be hilly, it might be on a hill, things like that. They might not have a rear yard that everyone else has. So this person is working with us on that, and they'll be bringing that forward to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they meet as needed, but they usually meet a couple times a year.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, we will move on from our administrator to our law director.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick report this evening. The chief and I had a chance to travel over to Lakewood, Ohio. We've been working on putting together a new building maintenance code along with some new nuisance laws. So we were able to meet with Lakewood. They have a pretty comprehensive code, both for their building maintenance and nuisance. So probably at the next planning commission meeting, I'll have prepared at least the nuisance portion of that to be able to give to the planning commission to vet out, to propose to you guys.
Anything else?
That is it.
All right, next is our finance director.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll start out with, I want to thank council, mayor, all the citizens that have supported us, and all the employees that have been supportive. I'm retiring September 30th, for those that didn't know, so we'll start out with that. It's been a great experience. I've learned a lot, but I'm there, so it'll be a good thing. So, I have two reports tonight. Second quarter budget report. In that particular report, if you go to the memo, this was, it's a good follow along. The report was reviewed by the Finance Committee at their August 16th meeting and approved by the Finance Committee. It reflects the original budgeted revenues and appropriations approved by City Council on February 26th, and then we had one amendment after that prior to the June 30th date. So it compares actual to budgeted revenues and expenditures. So to be a little bit brief, I know this kind of stuff gets a little bit boring for people. The general fund reached 57.3% of its revenue budget. So it's over and above what we anticipated. The special revenue funds, streets, were at 51% of their budget. Parks and Green Space received 88%, and a lot of that's from a good chunk of that is from the ODNR grant of $147,000 toward Parker Square, and then there were also transfers from the general fund for $545,000. The police pension fund, fire levy fund, both relying on real estate taxes, 51% and 81%. The fire levy fund is higher than 50% because of the transfers in that supports the personnel and payroll activity. Enterprise funds are 44 and 61%, water and sewer. Water and sewer capital funds are at 45 and 37% of their budgets. And if you look through the memo, you've got the same kind of a scenario for the expenditures. There's a really summary page of everything on page 25. It might be a little bit handier to review that. Overall, totals for all funds collected as of June 30th were $8,799,988 at 57% of the total revenue budget. And then on the expenditure side, overall expenditures through June 30th were $7,166,000 at 42% of the budget. That's $1,633,000 less than the revenues received. So again, you know, we're receiving more revenues than we're spending, which is good news for the city. We've discussed in the past of our general fund balance being 2 to 3 months, well above the 2 to 3 month average of general fund expenditures. And when we go to issue debt, that's very important. So there's also a breakdown of the general fund by personnel and operating expenses on page 26 of the report. Does anyone have any questions specific to the budget report? Ty.
So Mark, I talked to you earlier about the revenue coming in from EMS, the
Yeah.
calls, and us now going to billing and getting that revenue back. Where did I find that number on page 25?
On page 25,
Yeah.
that's within the general fund. Charges for services
Okay.
for fire rescue.
Okie dokie.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the budget report? I'm going to cover July's financial report as well. And if you look at page 5 there, it'll identify the fund balances. And our fund balances at the end of July are $204,087, greater than July of 23. Compared to June of 24, there was a decrease in fund balance of $82,455. And then compared to December of 23, our fund balance had increased by $1,550,768. Total receipts in July were $1,025,000. Expenses were $1,107,000. Difference of about $82,455. We did receive a couple of couple of receipts that weren't all that significant, really. We got an advance for the fire fund on real estate taxes, and we had already received some other advances previously for $20,000. And then Gov Deals, Wes Martin's done a great job getting rid of a lot of the old surplus equipment that were really are obsolete or not being used. So we had in July alone $10,248 in proceeds from that. On the expenditure side, we paid our payment for the auditing services of $14,400. The River Road Pump Station to Peterson Construction was $127,297. We paid for the fireworks display at $12,500. Gaddis Paving on the Anthony Wayne Trail intersection, $15,783. And Midwest Contracting for Parker Square Phase 3, $144,746. And then Infratech Solutions for camera equipment that the Public Works Department will use to camera sewer lines, et cetera. So the significant expenditures really, and I use 10,000 as a benchmark, so anything above that I grab. The significant expenditures were 412,000. Investments, no change. In the reader reports, page 15 to 17, we covered that at the prior meeting. That was for July, and in this report, we've presented August, page 18 to 20 of the reader activity. We are at 2.79% above last year, which was the same percentage that we were at last month, so hold steady. I don't anticipate, I think I've said this before, another 14% increase like we had last year. I think we'll be more in those single digits. So, any questions on the finance report?
Council, questions?
My usual question, Mark, are there any red flags?
I'm sorry?
Any red flags we need to worry about?
No red flags that I can see here. No.
Good. All right. I like it. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Anyone else?
Mark, thanks for doing such a great job, and congratulations on your retirement. I'm sure we'll talk about it at the September meeting.
Thank you very much.
All right, next we'll have our treasurer report, Steve Schultz.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. We do have July reconciled, and I believe you have a copy of my report. Very, very brief. You can see the general fund continues to climb, which is good. Capital fund continues to climb, which is good. Water and sewer is a little bit down, and the Parks and Green Space is down, but for exactly the reasons that Mark mentioned, the big payments for the Parker Square and for the River Road pump project. So other than that, everything looks in good shape. Trends are good. So that's the end of my report.
Questions for Steve?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, everyone.
Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyone else? So just to remind us, you mentioned the general fund is healthy, but the water and sewer is maybe par or maybe dipping. So there are two different funds, and the water and sewer supports itself. I just wanted to have your input on that.
Absolutely, yeah. Water and sewer funds are what are called enterprise funds, and so any money that goes into those funds has to be used for those funds, and they basically are self-supporting. So if that number starts going down, then we know we got a rate problem, and we got to get our rates back up. And if it starts going up too much, maybe we can cut back a little bit. But they've been holding relatively steady, but it's something that we have to continually keep an eye on. So, I mean, I know the American Recovery Act helped us a lot with being able to do some projects that maybe forestalled some future rate increases as we go. But we have to continue to keep an eye on that to make sure that those stay solvent.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Next, we will have our police chief.
Evening, Mayor and Council. A couple things to add to my report, you should all have. Blues, Brews, and Brats and Oliver Hazard were well attended. Officers worked at both events with no incidents to report. Officer Zarletta is finishing her field training and should be on the road soon. Sergeant Steve Hallett is gearing up for retirement in September after 25 years. And we did get our new security locks throughout the building, police and administration side, installed, and they're up and running. That's all I have.
Questions for the chief?
Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to note, again, and I say this about every 6 months, is I see the suicidal calls were, I think you had 5 or 6 of them on there. It hits me, and I just want people to know that, there is help out there. We're always here for you. Anyone here. If you have the council, there's a suicide hotline, and there's a lot of people that love you, so.
September is Suicide Prevention Month, so we're gearing up for some social media posts.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks.
Mr. Rosick?
Yeah, Tim, I'm gonna go out of order if you don't mind. This will be part of my report from council, but we had a public safety committee meeting on the 1st, and since Joe's up there, I thought maybe he'd comment on some of these things that we talked about at that meeting. But a couple, Joe, one was the new arrangements for tornadoes, tornado watch. The church across the street would be open. I think that's what you said, right? And the Presbyterian church might also have limited use for tornado
Correct.
safety.
The churches have, over the years, have gained a lot of electronic, expensive computer parts, equipment. It's hard to staff the building when they open it. We just unlock it during a watch, and they could extend for 5 or 6 hours and well into the night sometimes. They feel that since there's nobody there to watch it, anybody can go into the church and take what they want. We do have access through Nick Sargent. He has a remote on his phone to open up the churches if needed. So they're still available if we need, we need to open them up. But if there's a watch warning out anymore, we're not going to be unlocking the churches unless we absolutely need it. And I think Doug can kind of follow up with that with what I think FEMA is recommending for emergency shelters. Also, there were some things that he had to cover that have changed throughout the years.
The other point was the speed trailer is out of commission.
It is.
That doesn't mean people should speed on the
No.
residential streets, but
It was 18 years old. We got probably 5 more years out of it than normal. The rep at MPH said that was a pretty good lifespan. I gave some quotes to Mr. Gokenauer. He's looking them over, and they'll probably be in the capital for next year.
okay. And new cameras at Conrad and City Hall, security cameras.
Those are up. Public Works, Conrad Shelter Park, Shelter Building, and all throughout the building. I think we added maybe 10 more cameras to what we had, and that was about 15 years old, that system. It was piecemealed together. We can go online now or on our phone and check security cameras out.
Yeah.
It's updated. We're modern.
Good. Oh, that's good. Thanks. Thanks. That's from the safety committee. I just wanted to make sure we covered that.
That's
I
fine.
did have one thing, Mayor, I'm sorry. Oliver Hazard, my service was absolutely horrible. You and I have talked about the service in town. You were gonna talk to, I think, Verizon or something about, was there any traction with that, or?
I think from what I remember our conversation, I think it would be a good idea to have a Verizon rep come in and address council. I know there's a
agree.
lot of homeowners in the downtown area. They've gotten rid of their landlines, and they work with their cell phones now. I know I have. And for them to be able to call 911 if there's an emergency and their cell phones are
SOS.
connecting, I think that needs to be addressed. And I think it affects the whole downtown area. But again, Doug is kind of the guru on the electronics and phone portion. I'm just trying to make his time at the podium a little bit longer.
It's a good segue. Yeah,
But I think it should be, we can get them in here for you if
that'd be great.
you'd like that.
So as long as we're on that topic, I'm out of order too, John, just want you to know.
Okay.
But the Verizon, I did speak to one of the managers who I found out is talking to Doug about she's had some conversations with you. I've not had a chance to get with the administrator. Safe to say, we got to fix it. And in the simplest terms, sometimes it becomes a corporate issue, not necessarily a city issue from the standpoint of the vendor has to fix it. So really, we gotta ask our citizens to call their Verizon reps and you raise the flag or ring the bell, because that's when they're gonna get more attention. But I'll get with John and Doug and Chief Joe later, because there are some things that we might be able to do internally. It'll cost us some money, some they call it amplifiers or repeaters. So it's being looked at. It's not an easy solution. So I agree, Todd. It was poor. It can be poor. All right, you're off the hook. We'll go to Doug Meyer, Fire Chief.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, so after that, I don't have to talk so fast. Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have a copy of my report. I only have one thing to add, and I'm not sure if it ended up getting into color into your packet. I was trying to bring down some color inserts to have each one of you have a color insert for the Haas alert, so you could see exactly what a Haas alert looks like. I was able to capture one. Mine's in black and white, so I'm not sure if your packet's got black and white or not. They're all, there was multiple in my packet. They're all the same alert. There's just multiple. So there's what happened. So, but at any rate, I can kind of cover some of it. But if it's in color, basically the road is highlighted like normal ways, but then the road turns red. It puts a white light, which you can see over the vehicle, which is submitting the Haas alert. If you look at the top, it tells you emergency vehicle, how close it is to you, and who it is. In this case, it was the Michigan State Police. It's asking you to pull over, move over and slow down. It does alert you, just like it would talk to you for any other direction, like, you know, turn left here, whatever it would say. It said emergency vehicle. As soon as I heard that, I was able to screenshot this so that you could see what it looked like. And if you look, it says 21 minutes ago, Haas alert was on the road ahead of me. There was 4 police officers, 2 ambulances, and a multiple car crash that was minor. Everyone was standing on the side of the road. There wasn't a whole lot of damage to the vehicles, thank goodness, but I was able to capture what it looked like, because everybody was always curious of what a Haas alert actually looked like. So there's what they look like. I was not using my GPS for directions home per se. I was using it to figure out why traffic was backed up on US 23, and so there's your result. So other than that, I don't have anything else to add. I'm guessing after Chief Valvano deflected several questions, you guys will have some questions.
Were you driving?
No,
Screenshotting?
we were stopped.
All right.
I was coming home from the VA. It was a VA appointment up in Ann Arbor. I was in my own car, but we were stopped, and that's why I opened. That's why I opened ways.
Safety guy, so I'm just making sure you're not.
That's
driving
true.
and
In Michigan, you can't drive with your hands on the phone anyway. So, but I opened it because I wanted to know why I was sitting still.
How do we get those Haas alerts? We have to sign up for them?
No, just have your GPS open. Even if you're not using it for going somewhere, if it's open and it tracks your vehicle, and if you approach it, it will alert your screen just as you see there.
Nice.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Mayor, I'll go
Yes, sir.
out of order again, just for Doug. From the safety committee meeting, just to tell council that you're at full staff. I think that's what you reported, or close to.
We're close. We have one that's in the process right now.
One in process.
Yeah.
And Doug has also been applying for some grants, just to know that for the Assistance to Firefighters Grant and a Safer Grant, which I think those are in process, or you got?
Yep, so those are both in process. We're waiting. We applied for the Assistance to Firefighters Grant for SCBA packs. White House did get theirs awarded. It is not closed yet. We still have a chance. I guess they award based on department needs and budgets. So hopefully we'll still get a shot at that. The Safer Grant is a grant for personnel. They fund the positions in full the first year, and then it tapers after that. And then the city absorbs those positions in the end, but it gives you several years that they're funding that position.
And last, bring us up to date on ALS, where we are with that transition.
The transition has been done. It's complete. August 5th was the date. We have to have a paramedic on 24/7. White House does as well. Monclova. I will say that it seems to be working. We have our last reform meeting on Wednesday, but nobody has any has had any issues yet. So.
Good. Anyone else? Thank you, Doug. Not the last, well, not the least, but our Public Works Director, Kenny Blair.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I only have a few things tonight. I'm going to run down a couple items, excuse me, on the project list. I did want to mention the Parker Square is substantially complete. They only have a few items to clean up, and that project will be completed. Mr. Gokenhour brought up the street resurfacing program. They finished up Freedom Lane today, and Lexington's been completed, leaving only the alley back here, and that's supposed to start after Labor Day weekend. The Farnsworth Road resurfacing water line project was awarded to Ebony Construction, and that construction for that will start in 2025. Mr. Borowski brought up the shared youth path. Thank you, Todd, for that. Everybody does my report. I don't know what it is. Also, we're gearing up for the fishing derby, and that's going to be September 21st at Waterworks Park. We have plenty of openings yet, so you can pick up a registration form here at the municipal building, library, or online at waterville.org. I'm going to be meeting with the utility superintendent tomorrow. Since this mowing slowed down, I want to see if we can switch some people around and maybe get this hydrant painting done, so we can get some good jump at it this summer. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you've seen the new swings at Conrad Park. We have the larger swing set, and then we have the assistant swing, I think that's what it's called, at the smaller swing set, which is closer to the library. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's all been put up now. And that's all I have.
Questions for our Public Works Director? We'll start with Anthony Bruno.
Just wanted to make sure you got my email. I think you responded to it regarding that walkthrough of waterwork. Okay.
Yeah.
John?
Thanks.
Wayne?
No, sir.
Kenny, you still gonna do the fishing derby after you retire?
In my what?
Still gonna do the fishing derby after you retire?
I had a talk with
Rotary.
Jody about that. Rotary. Yeah, I plan on helping out.
Awesome.
I said that I would.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good news. That's it.
Maybe a little bit on Rusty Boy today.
Mary?
Nothing.
All right. Kenny, thank you for the report. Thank you. Next is communication from council members, and then also some appointments to various commissions, boards, and committees. So we'll start with communication from council members, and we'll start with Mary Duncan.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Todd Borowski.
Nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Tony Garber.
Yes, sir. Parker Square looks absolutely fantastic. I think that the lighting and the theme of the signs looks just amazing. And I would love to see that be incorporated into our signs that we're using for our entryways, say off of 24 or off the trail, just to keep that thing consistent. but it looks absolutely fantastic. I had the luxury of attending the NOMA meeting with the mayor and Councilman Wagner, and we got some briefings from Senator McCauley and one of their attorneys, and we certainly have a lot to review.
Thank you. Wayne Wagner.
No part.
John Rozick.
Just a couple more things from the safety committee meeting. One is the marking for the crosswalk at Farnsworth and River Road, and also, well, Farnsworth and River. And I don't know if that's part of the completion of the project at Parker Square, or how we're going to mark it.
It'll be part of the paving project with the Farnsworth water line. Public Works Director mentioned Emily Construction, so it'll get redone.
Okay. And then, just to be sure, the shared use path will not be available for golf carts, I don't believe. Is that right, John?
Well, that's, I know we were, and we've had discussion at Public Safety and Park and Rec Board about motorized vehicles and, you know, is there a distinction between a golf cart and a motorized bike now? Because a lot of people are using those, and I think that's probably something we gotta keep talking about. And but I don't think golf carts should be allowed. It's just a safety issue, I think. And we, you know, we have talked about a way to get people in Farnsworth Village, Black Hawk, that neighborhood over there, into the park. So there might be a small section of shared use path that they could use, so they can cross Waterville, Monclova. We'll be widening it in 2025, so maybe we can put in a golf cart crossing lane or something. So, but I know those are things we're still talking about.
Right. Thank you, Mayor.
Just wanted to make mention, I walked through Waterworks Park with a resident who lives 2 doors down from the park, and I just forwarded some of his concerns to Kenny and to John, and they said they'd get it taken care of before the fishing derby.
Okay. Thank you. I got several things. Some items have already been discussed, but they're worth noting again, not necessarily in any order, but I did have some more communication on the Rite Aid facility, the building that's for sale. Nothing really positive yet to report, but there are some other developers I know that are looking at it, so we're keeping an eye on that. Our eyesore in downtown Waterville, the abandoned Sunoco gas station, as I mentioned before, it's still in the legal battle, so there's not a whole lot we can do, but I did communicate to the owner who's in New York to please at least keep it looking halfway decent with grass and whatnot, and I think that's been done. Additionally, I had the opportunity with Councilmember Wagner on Friday to participate in the 230th Battle of the Fallen Timbers reenactment program, which started Friday night. And it's amazing, the history here in Waterville. I know it might be singing to the choir, but it's pretty interesting on what took place. I wasn't around 230 years ago. Maybe Wayne was, but anyways, it was a good program. And then Saturday, they had an excellent program at the Wakeman Hall with the Waterville Historical Society, and they had the 338th Army Band, a portion of those, and they were from Livonia, Michigan, and Cincinnati, or Columbus rather. It just was a great program right here in Waterville. We talked about Oliver Hazard. I did receive a call back from one of the members. They were appreciative. They tried to, next day, a couple days later, tried to clean up some of the space that they had done Saturday night. Chamber of Commerce, we talked about all the great things going on with Michelle and her team. Also, Lisa Exeter, we're going to have her back sometime this fall, because what a great program she had for this summer at Eats and Beats. Rouge Boeuf is coming up, and we've got a lot of things going on Friday night, the 27th, with the Boy Scouts and 5K run, and then entertainment Friday night. We don't have it all programmed just yet, but we are going to have some sort of program, and we'll invite the parkers in the community to come and recognize you might say, the grand opening of Parker Square. So more details to follow, but it is probably going to be the 25th, which is Friday. The timing, we just need to program that in. We talked about Parker Square. I had a chance to almost go by there every single day in the last several months, and They did work at it, and like a bottle of wine, it takes time to ferment and get it off the ground, but it's really going to be a remarkable program. And there have been some comments about the lighting. This is experimental. There's some new things in the flush with the concrete, and those light colors will change. The contractor and others are in the process of working out some of those transitions. School's back in session. Joe, I meant to ask you when you're at the podium, anything to be concerned about? We all set with schools, okay? It's been a while. Our ad hoc recreational committee that's putting on the plans for an inclusive park. We took a little pause here in the summer, but we do have a couple of new committee members that joined. And thanks to Steve Schultz, he's going to serve as the treasurer, and you'll be hearing more about that soon after Labor Day. John, you talked about the paving on Freedom. I know a lot of the folks are pleased that that is completed. And Rotary and Public Works, thanks for hosting the fishing derby. And then lastly, I'm going to ask council, because John and Mark, before he leaves, will probably give us some homework assignments, but I'm asking council to take time in the next several weeks as John prepares the draft budget, that we begin to formulate our questions or our concerns or our recommendations sooner than later, because technically that budget doesn't have to be passed till the end of February of 2025. However, there's a lot of back and forth with staff time, and if we could try and button that down by the middle of December, and certainly if we need to go into January, we can, to pass that budget. So please look for that to happen in the next couple of months. And then lastly, I did attend the Chamber of Commerce luncheon last week with our Administrator John Gokenauer, and Michelle and her team put on a nice program. And Glenn, our consultant that's putting on the land use plan, did an excellent job. It was just a snap in time of what's taking place with that committee, which I know there's a couple of members here today, but it was well received by the business community as well as citizens that were there at the meeting. And I heard some comments about, I knew it was taking place, but I didn't really realize all the detail that's going to be planning. And it's going to take time to roll this out as they move forward. So thanks for that opportunity. All right, that's all I have, except I have a recommendation, a proposed appointment. We have a seat open on the Combined Health District, which we had discussion at the last meeting. We had two folks that expressed interest. Lisa Weber was one of them, and also Ted Korozowski, who's the current member, and we tabled that appointment until today, and so I am here to recommend that we continue Ted's appointment for the next 4 years. His term would expire on June 30th, 28. I also want to comment, I've heard from some individuals, some council members, that we could certainly do a better job of communicating some of these opportunities and get more information. But I did talk to both to Lisa and received communication, as well as council members, about her experience and her abilities. And it's certainly not a question of that. It's a question of, as mayor, I have lots of appointments, lots of opportunities to select individuals and trying to find the best spot for all these individuals. And so my recommendation is to appoint Ted to that position. So I need a motion. I'm moving that we recommend and have Ted Korozowski be appointed to this term expiring 6/30/28. Need a second?
Second?
Second, Mary Duncan. Any discussion?
You guys good? No, good. I was obviously one of the people who you talked to, and it is, I agree, it's 100% your duty to appoint. I guess I don't like that I'm not given any information about Ted's background or anything else. And like I said, it's your duty, but at the same time, you're asking for our vote or our
I guess, blessing to put our name behind this nominee that we don't have any information about. So going forward, I would hope that we would get everybody's resume, you know, so we know who we're appointing. And I'm sure Ted's done a great job, and he could be the next Surgeon General of the U.S. for all we know, but unfortunately, I have no information.
Okay, duly noted. Anybody else? I've got some follow-up comments. So I did speak, as I said, to Lisa, and again, excellent resume, excellent references. And I also had a chance, and I've had a chance to talk to Ted over the years, and again, he's happy to serve. He has the support of the existing organization with the new director. Ted has lived in the community since he moved here in 1977. Then he moved away. He's been back since 2006. He certainly is knowledgeable of the organization. And again, this is just slightly different than some of our other committees, public safety or tree commission or recreation committee. This is a different element with the county, and so again, I feel comfortable moving forward with this nominee.
Mayor, before we vote, I would like to thank Lisa for volunteering or, you know, submitting her resume. I think that's terrific, and I also acknowledge she's on the master plan committee.
Comprehensive plan.
So I think the important thing is that we have citizens that want to participate in the community voluntarily, and that's terrific, and I hope we continue to have that
Good.
participation.
Mary?
Also, one of the things that the Board of Health voted in I think 2 years ago, is term limits for the board. They never had term limits before. So this would be Ted's final term. So we'll be choosing someone else in '28, just for your information.
That's awesome.
And then additionally, with the new director, I had a chance to sit down with him just a couple of weeks ago. He's making his way out to the communities. I think he's already been to Oregon. If you noted from our last meeting, he's scheduled to come here at the end of September, which you'll be reminded of that, and it's open to the public. So they are trying to reach out to their organization. And lastly, when you talk to people, you find out new things. Lisa and I spoke today, and I knew she worked for the Office on Aging. And by the way, I went to the Office on Aging National Senior Citizen Day the other day with her team. And Lisa's got some excellent ideas for our senior citizens. We're not going to go into them tonight, but there's another resource, and the mayor needs to harness that energy and take advantage of the knowledge we have in our community. So more on that later. Lisa and I did talk about that. All right, so we have a motion and a second on the table to appoint Ted Wazowski to the Combined Health District Board. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye. I'm opposed.
Opposed. Wayne Wagner, opposed. Thank you. All right, next is no old business, some new business. This is a resolution approving the site plan for a self-storage unit facility located in the 1400 block of Prairie Boulevard, Zone C3, Highway Commercial District. John, would you please expand on that?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a issue that was before council in November of last year. We had a conditional use permit for a self-storage unit facility in the 1400 block of Prairie Boulevard, and that was approved on November 13th, 2023 with 9 conditions of approval. The building, or the development, it consists of 7 buildings, 538 units. Part of the conditions of approval, there were 9 of those, so part of the conditions of approval was the submittal of a more detailed site plan. So that is what the applicant has done. Along with the site plan, there was elevation drawings of the proposed exterior of the office area, the color information that would be used in the development. So the applicant brought the plan back to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission at their August 12th meeting made a recommendation to council for approval. Their conditions of approval were that the installation of a solid vinyl fence, 6 feet in height. It would be white in color, so it's on the northern and southern property lines of the development, and that would screen the buildings from the residential area to the east and north, and Prairie Boulevard to the south. The installation of the brick stone veneer that was indicated on the elevation drawings and in the colors that were indicated. The applicant did say that the office building is gonna look exactly like the elevation drawing that was submitted. The final submittal of a photometric lighting plan, so in the council packet, there was a lighting, I guess, drawing, but the engineer has to certify that, you know, the lights are all gonna be directed down and not shining onto adjacent properties. And then the city engineer had comments regarding the plan itself and corrections to the site plan and construction drawings for the project.
Okay, I need a motion to accept resolution 2724.
So moved.
We'll move, need a second? Second, Anthony Bruno. Any more discussion?
Doug, have you approved this? Do they have fire suppression?
They do not have.
Yeah, please.
You know how I'm crazy about fire suppression.
Yeah, they don't have fire suppression, but they're not required
Okay.
by the use. But what I will say is I worked with Tom Urista and Mr. Gokenauer to verify turning radiuses. There was an adjustment that was made in order for our engine.
Okay.
The tower will not fit. However, it will not fit in several other currently existing storage units. So how is it fair to hold one to that standard when we can get an engine, which is plenty of suppression for those needs? They've also agreed to the hydrant and so forth and so on. So
Okay.
I would approve of this site plan.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Someone else had a comment. Go ahead, sir.
I just, one or two, I guess, on the drawing, John, the fence to the north, it says chain link, but that's gonna be
Right, this,
white also?
yeah, this'll be, you know, this will be changed, and, so on the north side, it'll be a solid 6-foot vinyl fence, white in color, so that's on the north and the south side. So what the applicant will do, they'll make the final corrections if council, approves this, and then they can get their zoning permit, their building permit, and then once it's installed, we'll make sure that the, fences are as they agreed, and the design is as they agreed, and the landscaping was installed as they agreed to do, and so forth. So.
And then just to be clear, the no public access between 11 and 7, that means nobody, right? Not, in other words, the people that are renting, they're considered part of the public, I assume.
Right.
They're not owners.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. It seems like a large office space for a facility that isn't occupied, but I guess that's not our.
Right. Yeah, they have 3 offices and a meeting room and a world headquarters, I guess.
Thank you, Mayor.
John, I just wanted to, and you say the vinyl fence on the north side, but you're also considering this long section, the north side, to the right of the,
No, what that, you know, that, you'll see the bare wall of the back of the building, and then that's landscaped. So if you go to the landscaping plan, the landscaping, there's gonna be trees installed along the back of that building, so that portion won't be fenced. And then there's the planning schedule on the last page of the landscaping plan. So that'll be screened, and then the solid fence is on the north, and then on the south side, in order for them to get the turning radius for the fire engine, you know, they had to expand the drive aisle, so, they couldn't landscape the south side of the, property, so that's the rationale for the solid fence.
okay. So the first long building on the right when you enter is not gonna have a vinyl fence, just gonna have landscaping, eventually try to hide the building side of the
Right.
building. And I imagine they'll have a fence start at the end of that building?
Yeah, the solid fence will start at, you know, as it curves and goes, I guess, west.
Don't they have to fence the whole property?
That's what I thought.
Well, you know, the building is 9 feet high, or, so that covers that part of it.
So you're talking about, just to be clear,
No fence
this is
here.
no fence here? It says chain
Right.
link fence here, though. Somewhere,
I don't know, it's up here, and it's only, they got it here, but it's only on that wall.
just that wall.
So, you know, that'll be a landscaped area, and you'll see the wall of the building on the northeast side. If you look at the site map, you know, there's an area there that it butts up to, is basically the access drive for the retention pond. So it is quite a ways away from the apartments that are to the east.
So I see, they're fencing to the building.
Right.
Okay.
And then, you know, if you look on the site plan, it's 9 feet 4 inches tall is the building height.
I was hoping they were gonna be here to answer questions, cause I had quite a few. The engineer had numerous concerns. Do we know if all of those have been addressed, or are they gonna plan on addressing those?
Yeah, they have to address those before they are
Before
issued
you issue the
a
permit.
zoning permit.
Okay. And then it looks like they went from 50-some parking spots down to 9 after a Board of Zoning Appeals request.
Right.
I guess I'm concerned with 3 of the parking spaces are down here in the bottom right corner. They look to be a good 100 feet away from the office building.
Well, I mean, I think those are just there for if, you know, people need a place to park out of the drive aisle,
Okay.
that's what those are for.
Yeah. And then my last one, I guess, was the electrical site plan. Doesn't seem to line up with our, like, it doesn't show the office on that far right storage building. So I'm not sure how they're gonna get lighting to the parking lot, and that's.
Well,
one of my
it's not gonna
concerns.
be open at night, so they just need to light up the buildings.
I guess I just mean wintertime, 4 o'clock it gets dark, 4:30, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we would want typical parking lot lights,
Right.
because those
Yeah,
would
I-
shine all
I
over the
agree
place.
there.
And these will be, the fence is 6 foot, the building height is 9, so if the lighting is just over the top of the fence or just equal to the fence, on the solid portions, you probably won't see the lighting. And then if it's directed down, you'll just see the lights shining down.
Yeah. And then lastly, do we know what they're gonna do once they split the parcel? Or has it already been split?
It has been split.
Okay.
So the remainder of the parcel is Zone C3, so
Okay.
it can be, you know, it's commercially
And
zoned.
that's still owned by DFG?
Yes.
Gotcha. That's all I have.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Been moved and seconded for resolution 2824. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
27.
Opposed.
27,
And
27.
excuse me, 24. There's actually 2 resolutions here. So 2724 is for the storage
All
unit.
right. My mistake. I lost my agenda. Give me that. So, correction. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded for resolution 2724. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed, Wayne Wagner. Next is resolution 2824, resolution approving the preliminary roadway dedication plat for Farnsworth Business Park. John, would you please elaborate on that?
Okay, we have a preliminary roadway dedication plat for the proposed development of the Farnsworth Business Park. So that's at 8275 Neapolis Waterville Road. It's a 48 acre parcel that was purchased by the Port Authority, and they're looking to install a approximately 1,820-foot roadway, 80-foot wide. And so this will be the entry drive for the business park, and the preliminary drawing was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission at their August 12th meeting, and their conditions of approval were the recommendations provided by the city engineer, and then also the installation of a 2-foot anti-vehicular access strip. So the on the parcel, if you look on the parcel, to the west, the property abuts another parcel that isn't in the city, so that was the rationale for that. So if that parcel would be brought into the city, that requirement would probably be taken away or recommended to be taken away by the Planning Commission. But so that was the rationale there. The city engineer provided his comments, and the preliminary drawing has to be corrected. You know, there were spelling mistakes and things, so they have to correct that, and then we would authorize them to proceed. It's a preliminary plat, so they would bring back the final roadway dedication plat to council and the Planning Commission for final approval, and that would be contingent on the development being built according to the city standards, and you know, that things would be inspected by the city engineer and make sure that those are followed.
Okay, so need a motion for resolution 2824.
So moved.
So moved, Tony Carver. Need a second?
Second.
Todd Borowski, second. Moved and seconded. Any more conversations or discussion?
This goes right to the property line, John, the roadway, right on the line, absolutely.
Well, it looks like that, but it's right away. So what, there'll probably be about, well, there'll be a 2-foot easement, and then there'll be probably 15 feet of right away for water, sewer,
Okay.
things like that. So yeah, the roadway itself isn't gonna be right on the property line,
Okay.
but the right of way goes to the property line.
And how wide is you think the road would be? It's gonna be wide enough,
80
obviously.
feet wide,
How many?
80 feet.
80?
It's at the next step, somebody will name the road.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a name, and I guess, you know,
Coconut Lane.
Wagner Drive. You know, and I guess if council has a name, or, you know, maybe the Historical Society could come up with a Waterville appropriate name.
Sure.
You know, but yeah, we don't have a name for the road yet, so
It's a nameless road.
to be determined. So.
TBD.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for resolution 2824. I'd like to make a motion that we accept resolution 2824. Need a second?
Second?
Second.
Didn't we already do
We already did.
We already did
Already
that.
did that.
Already did
All in
that.
favor?
All
All
those
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm just seeing if you're paying attention, that's all. All right, next is resolution 2924. A resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to award a contract to Atlantic Emergency Solutions for the purchase of firefighting equipment for the fire department. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution authorizes the purchase of new firefighting turnout gear, protective clothing, and equipment from Atlantic Emergency Solutions of Manassas, Virginia, for the purchase price of $35,010. And this was in the 2024 appropriation for the fire department. And as we've discussed in the past, the department buys their gear on a schedule, so we're, you know, rotating old gear out, and we're not buying it all at the same time for the entire department. So that's what we're doing here.
Okay, I need a motion to accept resolution 2924.
So moved?
So moved, John Roderick. Need a second?
Second.
Second. Todd Borowski. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is resolution 3024, resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a contract with Highland Administrative Services, Inc. Administrator of the Ohio Government Risk Management Plan for the comprehensive property, casualty, and liability insurance coverage. John?
Thank you, Mayor. Every year we renew our comprehensive property, casualty, liability insurance coverage, and the renewal for this year is $65,782. That's a little more than what I had in the staff report. The city took delivery of the county ambulance that we were getting under the new ALS agreement, so we wanted to make sure that was on our insurance. So we added that on, so that was about $771 extra for that. But just as everything else, inflation and that kind of translates into our premium increase, which is about 7% when you include the ambulance that we added to the policy. So for example, we check our buildings to make sure the replacement value is keeping up with costs. And this year, the fire station and the public works building, the square footage was a little low, so we added that into there. So the property revaluation appraisal, and then the a general increase in the overall insurance, and then adding the ambulance was the difference in last year's premium to this year's premium.
Need a motion to accept resolution 3024.
So moved.
Mary Duncan, so moved. And then second, John Rosick. Any more discussion?
John, do we usually get other quotes on that every year, or?
Not every year. Periodically we do.
How long has it been since we got another quote?
Probably about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said it's a 7% increase?
Yes.
Yeah, which is reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
It's lower than my car insurance went up.
Yeah.
Right.
What's your crazy driver?
Then there's that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for resolution 3024. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Next is other information for unscheduled business. I have one item, but I'll go around the room with Anthony.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Nothing, sir.
I do. So I talked to Wendy Gray, and I think she talked to you guys about the 3 trees for Parker Square. And I know she's looking to get a 25-foot and 2 20-foot trees, and she would like to get that as soon as possible.
Yeah, we
So
met a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was some back and forth with the supplier. One thing that we discussed is we want to probably, and she pointed us to the right direction, is a commercial grade, because these are different trees, so we're on it. We don't have them yet, but we are going to be getting them. They will be.
So just wanted to bring it up. She asked me to bring it up, and she does such a great job every year, so I want to make sure that we support her.
Yes. Very good. Mary?
That's it.
I have nothing further.
I just want to mention again, I missed it in my original report, but Boy Scout Troop 101 celebrated their 100th anniversary down at Parker Square about 3 weeks ago. They got a lot of recognition. Probably had about 100 scouts, alumni scouts that came back, and it was a great event. And I mentioned that they were the first ones to unofficially have an event at Parker Square, so that was all good. With that, our next meeting is September the 9th, 2024. Have a safe Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you then. We are adjourned. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I think it was Wayne.
Yep.
And seconded by Todd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.